IVM.
If you have some time, you should also check out The Seen and the Unseen, which is a podcast hosted by writer Amit Verma, who takes a close look at the seen and the unseen aspects of various government policies.
Hi everybody, welcome to the Geek Fruit Podcast. Today is a very special episode because we've got all our OG crowd in the house. It's Dinkar and Jishnu and me, Tejas.
Who's the artificial crowd?
What?
He said OG crowd.
He says OG like there's a
Do you
Do you know what OG means? What does OG mean? One second, stop. 1 second. What does OG mean, Jishnu?
Other guy.
No.
Over guy.
It's original gangster.
Yeah, why would artificial be the opposite of
Yeah.
OG?
As opposed to, if it's original, then there's fake,
Yeah,
right?
fake, correct, yeah.
So artificial.
So that's what you think? You think artificial means fake?
Plastic.
Wow. All the robots are coming
Okay.
for you first,
I
Jishnu.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who are the fake guys?
You think AIs can't be OGs?
Who
Yeah.
are the fake guys?
What if they were the
Who are the
original
non-OGs?
AIs?
Well, I don't want to name names, but it's everyone who's
Hello,
been on the show.
answer me now.
What
Who are
happened?
these fake imposters?
Nobody. I'm just
No,
saying,
yeah.
we've had a bunch of people fill in for either one of us.
Who?
when-
I haven't been listening for the last
Well,
117
Janam, our new
episodes.
producer, was sitting
Oh,
in the
she's
room
nice, she's nice.
giving you daggers, dirts, or whatever.
I'm smiling and nodding
Then
politely.
Naveen has been there. Siddhant, as you know, has been on the show a lot.
They
All-
broke my heart twice. Once
Yeah.
each.
Fake
So-
hosts!
No, so now we're back to it's just the three of us. So hi everybody, welcome to the Geek Fruit Podcast, and we have some fan mail. What is our mail for this week, guys?
Did you guys address my boy Shivank?
Yeah, of course.
And his-
And
Yes, of
Shivank, we
course.
shall address him once more because he's got a mail this week as well.
Oh, what's he saying?
He says, I take my words back. Black Mirror is 100 times better than Altered Carbon. Carbon guys had a brilliant concept, but they ruined it because they wanted to adapt to the book. He has the most abrupt ending to emails.
Yeah. Grammar is not a thing for this man.
No, I think he thinks it's like
heart's in
chat,
the right place,
which is
though.
cool. I like that he thinks he has an ongoing conversation with us. Which
He thinks
does.
it's like instant messaging,
It is.
Yeah, he's
I mean, we
texting
are
us.
literally...
but it takes like a week to get back. So this is really snail mail.
Yeah.
He might as well just
Who'd have
send a
thunk
pigeon.
email is snail mail now? But anyway. So what do you guys think of Altered Carbon?
We did an
I
entire
thought
episode
I
on
thought
it.
the poster.
That's
looked,
right.
I thought the poster looked great on Netflix, but it wasn't enough for me to click on the play
You didn't
button.
watch it?
No.
Okay, cool. Fair enough. All right, we did an entire episode. You can check out our last week's episode on Altered Carbon and Annihilation. All right, so this week we're talking about anything else you guys want to talk about before?
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
Jishnu, where have you been? How are you, man?
I've
What's up,
been
man?
ruminating on what my boy Shivank said about what is
It's only Dinkar because he's just irresponsible and
Sorry.
unprofessional.
amazing.
I'm getting texts, possibly from Shivank. I don't know. I haven't checked it.
Yeah, I want to get into what did you think about what he had to say regarding YouTube versus
Mixing
Linkin
Well,
Park?
Jishnu, if you heard the
electronic
episode, then
music.
you would know.
I told you I never listened to this show. It's terrible.
Well, he didn't say it was a versus situation. He said
what
they
did he
were
say?
in
It
he
was-
said, "What do you think of mixing electronic music and
right. Yeah.
and non-electronic
But those
music?"
two examples are pretty disparate.
They're yeah, I mean,
What
they're
was the
not
second example? I remember the YouTube one. Then what was
Linkin
the other?
Park.
He gave
Oh,
Linkin,
Link.
he gave Linkin Park and Songs of Innocence. Oh, Experience. Which one do you give?
Experience, I think.
Experience?
Experience.
Yeah.
I want to say
One of the
I
two.
don't remember.
One
Okay.
of the two. And I think that like they're miles apart from each other.
Oh yeah, definitely.
As
One's
far as, like-
they're two different genres.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely. And so like that's not really. It's an incorrect question, is what I think.
Yes, which is I mean,
I think, but the
we
bottom
kind
line
of
is-
addressed it in the same way, except we weren't like.
What do you think
we,
of-
We weren't rude about
Yeah.
it like you. We didn't call it an incorrect question. We were like, hey, maybe your question's not actually that correct.
That's not what we said. But we
I
said,
mean,
bottom
yeah.
line, what do you feel about mixing electronic music with rock music? Yes, the answer is yes.
It's good.
It's a good idea.
Yes.
Do it more, everybody.
We give it thumbs ups.
Let us not be confined by these genres.
Speaking of music, though,
Mm-hmm.
I noticed Jishnu Guha, you tagged me on a thing in Facebook. I'm like,
It's on Facebook, Dinkar?
it's on the Facebook.com. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been avoiding it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now I feel compelled to like.
Wait, what is this?
Where's the end
where's
of that?
this-
Where that
Is-
sentence
are you just-
started and then it,
Was that
it
just
didn't.
addressing
You
a
tagged me in a
notification?
music thing.
Yes, and then
And like, I feel compelled.
Wow, there is
What's your
no
point?
end to this.
What is your
I
point?
don't know anymore.
All right, cool. So we're going to move on. Okay, so today's episode is about unlikely collaborations. Not unlike what's happening right now. because we
This
don't get
is
to be in the
all
studio
very
all at the
unlikely,
same time.
yeah.
Yes. So we're talking about weird things that have come together in the universe of nerdy stuff, and we're just going to talk about how when it happens it's really cool, or when it happens sometimes it fails spectacularly, but it's still pretty cool for having tried it all. So we're going to talk about a bunch of cross media things, some of them in the same place. I wanted to start with
Different
something
genres. Yeah, okay.
different genre. No,
Tell you
different
what,
mediums.
give us
maybe?
an example to kind of set the template of what is a nerdy collaboration. Or
So
what are
I'll-
the sort of nerdy collaborations we're talking about?
Well, when in the beginning, many years ago, for the first time when I saw like Lego doing
There was the
like
Big Bang. Okay,
What?
but
Okay, all right, yeah. But then soon after, when Lego arrived, and then Lego used to just be blocks when we were kids, and then
go back to calling it Lego.
it is Lego.
Lego?
Yeah,
yeah.
it's that. It means
Carry
to
on.
play. Yeah, isn't it mean to play in Danish?
I
Okay, so
didn't-
Lego.
Yeah.
Say what you were saying.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lego. But yeah, but so anyway, the cool thing about that was when we were kids, it was just like blocks and you make stuff, and they had their own, whatever, like their own franchises, like, Lego City, Technique.
Yes, they didn't do properties.
Yeah,
as
and then
such.
they started doing the IP kind of collaborations, and then we started seeing Lord of the Rings and like DC superheroes, Marvel. They've got everybody, man, and now so much so it's become so popular that they've made their own like universes out of them. Also, like we just recently got the Lego Batman movie, which was hilarious. We've got like Lego Batman
the Lego
games.
movie itself.
Yeah, the
as
Lego
well.
movie, things like that. And now
Yeah.
they're looking, and in the last, whatever article that I read, Lego's they said they want to be, in quotes, a small giant.
A
which
small
is,
giant?
Yeah, a small giant, because they want to kind of create this entire world for themselves.
They're a giant already.
They are a giant, but like in the space of like media and like creating their own IPs.
They
want to
be Disney, sort of.
Yeah, but a small giant, a small
A
Disney,
small-
if you will.
They want to be the biggest
Even
giant.
a small Disney is pretty big. That's the thing about it.
Yeah, I mean, Disney's got a head start on them as well.
Yeah, it's true.
Because Lego only started expanding into other stuff, like 10, 15
Maybe
years
10,
ago?
15 years ago. Yeah.
Because
And-
up till then, like you said, they were just a bricks company.
yes, and now they are
Making the
like
blocks.
a real kind of thing to reckon with.
What genius came up with the idea to license properties, and then now they're at the point where they are the property being licensed.
Licensed, exactly.
Yeah.
You know who's been doing that recently also, by the way, who's kind of getting into the game? Funko. And Funko,
Funko is licensing their
yeah.
look.
In fact, Funko has so Funko is the bobblehead company, the good one, the
they don't
mainstream
always
one.
bobble.
They don't always
Sometimes
bobble.
the pops don't bobble, do they?
Jishnu will explain
I have a
because
lot
he
of them.
has a lot of Funkos.
Do all of them bobble?
The ones that I have, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, he
I mean,
buys
well,
exclusively bobbling Funkos.
Yeah, they do. They all do.
Okay, cool. Anyway,
Right, so I've started seeing that they've been tying up with Marvel and stuff and doing like animated series, like short web series and things like that.
Really?
Yeah. So they're like the
What?
new kind of like it's like basically taking what's the IP of Funko, which is like the weird shape,
which is
and
a
the
very
likeness of-
particular look.
Exactly.
Like a big blocky head,
Yeah,
essentially.
and they have like kind of almost patented it, almost that it's theirs now. So
Yeah.
so they can like license it out and do different
It's
things
an
with it.
even kiddier, friendlier version of what you already love.
Yeah,
Nice.
is that weird? Like, so where do they stay? What space are they in? Like, it's
with-
because Lego
Funko?
owns
it's
that.
cute. It's cute and adorable, and it's like if Iron Man is too graphic for your child, how about a cuter, bubblier, headier Iron Man?
Fair enough.
Basically,
see.
that's it.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
it's the
mean,
same thing as Lego. I mean,
Why
you know,
a child? You enjoy them, I enjoy them.
am I not a child?
Yeah.
Better question.
See what I did?
So yeah, so that's where I was coming from when we decided to do this episode, and I just thought we could like talk about some of the other weird things that have happened in the science, well, not science fiction particularly, but like, when cool
In,
things collide.
yeah.
When cool things collide, as that bad Def Leppard band cover
Yes,
band.
very nice.
To that end, I'm waiting to see the Happy Meal toys get their own 3D IMAX movie.
They
I
look-
feel like they
Because that's
there,
another licensing thing that keeps happening, right?
There
every-
have been like
It's true.
McDonald's movies, you're aware.
Really?
what have
Like,
these
you have
movies
these-
been like?
I've
like the
seen, like-
Hamburglar Part 2.
Literally
Electric
that. I've
Boogaloo?
seen I feel like I've seen animated shots at the least of the
I mean, are you
McDonald's
talking
characters.
about like just background noise at a McDonald's because some random guy made an Adobe Illustrator version of...
I feel like that's what
The
I've seen them.
Hamburglar?
They had comic books.
They did, I
What?
remember, a
Yeah.
while ago.
What is it
McDonald's.
called?
They had like an entire
The Rise
chronicle,
of the
like,
Ronalds?
So, I mean, you know how all of them have a backstory.
The Fallen Burger Kingdom?
Why would they be called the Fallen Burger Kingdom if it's a McDonald's thing?
Because it's an underdog story.
You know what's disturbing? Whose mascot is Chicky? Burger King?
Chick-fil-A?
No, Chicky.
Chicky? No,
Yeah.
definitely
I
not
have no
McDonald's.
idea.
I know my McDonald's.
Yeah.
It's
You've
Grimace,
got,
the
you've got your
Hamburglar,
Grimace, Hamburglar, Ronald.
Ronald, and the other one.
You know, when they named a guy Grimace, you'd think that they were trying to do like a Seven Dwarfs ripoff, and were just like, let's not have.
Happy or Sleepy.
Yeah, let's not have
That's
happy
what
and sleepy. Let's just have
I
like
suspect.
facial
The-
gestures.
the-
But
Grimace.
he looks like
Smile.
a giant, like blueberry currant, like a black currant. Sorry.
He's a big purple pyramid.
I've
Yeah,
never
what is
had a
Basically,
black
the character
currant.
design guy walked in and went like,
What is a black currant?
yeah, boss
I don't
was
know.
like, this is all you have. It's like, no, I have one more.
I only know black
This
currant
one's
is flavor
called
number
Grimace.
27. What is a black currant? Somebody tell
A black currant is like a raisin-ish kind of thing. Except
That's
it's,
yeah, I know that's what it tastes like, but I've never seen one. I've only seen it in purple Baskin
Oh,
Robbins.
you must have had it. Yeah,
You would
Exactly.
have had it in cupcakes.
I'm
and
convinced it's like
it's a
an
flavor
artificial.
like vanilla.
What is a vanilla?
Vanilla is from a plant.
Is
Yeah.
vanilla a thing?
From a plant, and
Yeah.
then you extract it, and it has that really
It looks like
distinctive
long
taste.
What
bright
plant?
sticks.
Correct.
What plant?
A vanilla,
vanilla
plant.
Where are they?
In like
They grow a lot in the south of India.
Oh, really?
Coorg and stuff.
Yes,
oh, you're from
correct.
south of India. Why don't you bring me one?
So is Dinkar. Why are you only looking at me, man?
You're on
What's
my
up,
right
dude?
side.
What's up? What's happening?
Let's.
Why are you
so,
targeting me, dog?
more nerdy collaborations
All right,
to
so
speak of.
yeah. So I'll tell you what. Let's take a break.
Yeah.
Let's come back. Let's dive straight back into it.
Cool.
Yeah. It's IVM here, let's go. We the IVM kids on the block over here. Just to talk, taking a break from producing all day. Coming on this podcast cause we got stuff to say. IVM Daily is the name of the show. Monday to Friday, we ready to go. Talking about stuff in our head. We might even talk about our favorite bread. Signing out, it's IVM here, the podcast network that's in your ear.
Catch IBM Daily Monday to Friday on the IBM Podcast app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey guys, we're back, and you realize I said the word dive, and that was strategic because the next collaboration I wanted to talk about was Radio and Hans Zimmer.
Well done.
So we did an episode.
What does it have to do with diving?
Yeah.
Well, because it was part of the Blue Planet series,
Exactly.
which was underwater.
Yes, well done. I just wanted you to fully explain that
Oh, I'm so
segue.
sorry. Okay, cool. So the next nerdy collaboration that I really enjoyed was actually one of the inspirations for this episode. Was when we were doing an episode for science documentaries and things like that, and we just came across Blue Planet, obviously because BBC is a big part of that whole nature science documentary aspect. And one of the cool things that I came across was the fact that when the original Blue Planet came out, and David Attenborough did it, Tom York from Radiohead saw it, and he wrote a song for King of Limbs called Bloom,
Yes.
and because he was inspired by it. And then some intern at BBC said, "Hey man, did you know that Tom York did this? And if you're ever doing Blue Planet 2, you should totally get him to kind of make that the theme song."
Yeah.
And then that intern is now David Attenborough, and that's how he kind of
Yeah, he
rose
turned
through the
into David
ranks.
Attenborough. But they recreated the song with
They did, with Hans Zimmer.
And
For-
using a lot of ocean. The original Bloom already sounds very underwatery. There's this like heavy washy reverb
It is,
on it and
but
stuff. So
they did
you
they
can
took
see
it to
the
the next
inspiration.
level in the. If you've seen, there's a cool Vox episode where they kind of just
where
do
they
a
delve
behind the
into
scenes
the-
look,
yes.
and they did this kind of. Hans Zimmer uses this technique called like pointillism, basically, which
Yeah.
is like in art when you're
A
drawing
lot
and
of
stuff.
tiny dots.
Tiny dots. He's
Yeah.
like, I wanted to do the same thing but in music. So he kind of got his entire orchestra to play the same note, but all at different intervals. Like everyone's playing it at a different point of time. So it feels like this kind of cascading
Like a
wave
con-
and stuff.
yes.
And I was just like, that is brilliant.
It
And
is very cool.
if it was possible, they made a Radiohead song way cooler than it originally was.
Yeah.
I think so.
You know what's weird? You would think the song Radiohead wrote, inspired by Blue Planet, would be Weird Fishes.
Yeah. But you know what? It's weird. I've enjoyed both the things that, Radiohead also did a theme for James Bond, which ultimately
got rejected.
But
Yeah.
that song is so
It's
good.
amazing.
I wish it was the theme and
Yeah.
not Sam Smith's, whatever, his song.
Writing on the wall.
The super.
That was not
What
like
a
it.
boring
but
song.
good, close enough.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, I mean, that song was amazing. So, so Radiohead, Hans Zimmer, and
Also-
David Attenborough.
What? I mean, like three of the.
It's like the
three
Rod
completely
Stewart,
different
Sting, and
worlds,
Bryan
huh?
Adams of all full
It's
up.
like the A.R. Rahman, Joss Stone, and Mick Jagger.
So, yeah, I mean, we talk
Who's
about
who?
that.
Huh?
Who's who in that combination?
Whoa, that's tough.
A.R. Rahman is obviously Mick Jagger. No, wait, what? No. They're on the
David
same team.
Attenborough is Mick Jagger because they're both kind of old. A.R. Rahman is...
Mick Jagger is obviously older than David Attenborough.
I feel like Mick Jagger is the kind of creature that David Attenborough would make a documentary
Totally
about.
could,
Yeah.
Like how
Definitely.
he's still alive.
Speaking of Mick Jagger, the Rolling Stones just sent, Ryan Adams is a big, not Brian Adams, Ryan Adams, for those listening.
Rian.
Rian is a big, he calls himself the pinball wizard because he's a big pinball, he's a nerd, and he has a couple of pinball machines on his tables on stage when he performs and stuff, as opposed to like a bunch of other things like tigers and anyway. But yeah, so he collects pinball machines, and Mick Jagger just sent him a Rolling Stones pinball machine and called him the pinball wizard.
What?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Anyway, I mean...
I thought there was going to be a Who reference. in
Yeah,
that.
because it's the pinball wizard.
Yeah.
It is a Who reference. He's a pinball wizard.
Yeah, but
It's a
Mick Jagger
combination-
sent it to him.
Oh,
so
but
like,
it was the Rolling Stones tables, a dedicated pinball machine, which is a Rolling Stones pinball machine.
You
Yeah, but-
can listen to the Rolling Stones and the Who.
Yes.
Right.
The Who?
but it's okay.
That's
Yeah.
how their name came about.
You know what I think of every time somebody says Tom York? I just want somebody to say that Tom York guy because it sounds like a delicious Thai soup.
Oh, nice, good one.
Very well done.
All right, next collaboration. What do you have, Dinkar?
I have an easy one to start with.
Okay, go for it.
Our boy Lin-Manuel Miranda,
Oh, I love him.
famous for Hamilton now.
And In the Heights.
Which,
and
by the way, we were into Hamilton before it was cool.
That's
I'd
not
just like
true.
To say. I was.
When we, well, okay,
been
I was
years.
into Lin-Manuel Miranda before he was.
You know
cool.
who was into Lin-Manuel Miranda before?
Yes, me. I just said it.
Because of In the Heights,
Because of
so
In the
was I.
Heights. Yeah,
Yes.
of course. That's how I heard about it.
Yeah.
Because, In the Heights.
He's great.
Lights up in Washington, Heights up. Again. But yeah,
Who another person into Lin-Manuel Miranda way before any of this came about was Disney, because he was signed to do Moana way before, I think maybe just after In the Heights began.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of Disney and Lin, he did the Cantina theme essentially
Correct.
for
Yes.
the new Star Wars.
Along with Mr. J.J. Abrams.
Along with Mr. J.J. Abrams.
And
Because J.J. Abrams
yeah.
had his start as a musician.
As a musician.
As you're aware.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he started out writing TV themes.
He's like Vishal Bharadwaj.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes,
What did he write?
it's
What's he
correct.
written that we might have heard?
I forget, but something you've heard for sure. I'll look it up while you guys converse and fill the airtime.
So I thought that was a really good segment.
Yeah.
I really
Is this,
like
the after show? Except it's happening in the show.
This is the post show. Yeah. I thought his performance was pretty
Okay,
good.
no. Tell
I
us
mean-
what you think of the new Cantina theme, because I have some thoughts.
I didn't think it was memorable.
No,
Exact-
I can't
It
say no.
wasn't memorable, but I just like the idea that they made the song. Like,
that's fine.
I think it
I'm
was
happy that
too.
it's
It was too big. The Cantina theme is too
First of all,
recognizable.
my first issue is that everyone calls it the Cantina theme. It's not.
It's
like
what's the name of the band? First, you tell me that. Do you know the band that does the Cantina theme?
Finger and Dan and the Nodal Modes.
Yes. Yeah, the modal nodes.
The modal nodes.
Yes, yeah.
Not
Yeah.
the nodal modes. Yes, you're
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
But also I feel
and
like
you
in
don't
the-
know who that is in the new version.
in the first iteration of it, in episode 4, I feel like they just lingered on the band longer than they did in this one. Because in the first
They
one,
didn't linger on the band.
they did in episode 4 as opposed to episode 7.
Sorry, in episode 4.
Because
Yeah, of course.
the circumstances of episode 4's Cantina versus episode 7's Cantina is that in episode 4, Luke is going into the thing just with Obi-Wan. You don't know what Obi-Wan's doing there. He's like, I'm going to find a guy.
Right.
Like, okay, I'm going to talk to a guy about a thing. That's all it is, right? So there's just like, there's a good 60 seconds of like, look at this bar and look at these weird people. And Luke's going, wow, this place is really weird. So you have time to do that. But in episode 7, it's like, stakes are really high.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, there's
It's
like 4
already,
people.
Yeah, it's already in the middle of the story.
Yeah, so like you want to just hurry up and get to why we're here because we know
J.J.
why we're
Abrams
there.
wrote the theme song for the TV show Fringe.
Oh, I could have guessed that, dude.
Yeah, of course. But he did that much later.
And Alias?
His first job was writing the music for a movie called Night Beast.
Oh, of course, Night Beast.
Yeah.
I don't know
That
Night
guy.
Beast.
No, I don't know either. I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
okay.
of course.
Anyway,
But did you know that Vishal Bharadwaj wrote the theme for...
Jungle.
No,
Actually,
the
Hai Pata
song
Chala Hai?
Dhantana from Kamine is actually a TV theme song.
How do you
which
spell
he,
that?
Yes.
Dhantenan. I did it!
Boom. Well
Yes.
done.
So it was for another TV show, and then he adapted it
repurposed
for...
it. Yes,
which
correct.
then gave me the encouragement to reuse some of my older stuff. So there you go. A little bit of trivia.
That's a nerdy collaboration.
Yeah. So-
anyway,
Yes.
So I also did not think the Cantina theme, the new Cantina theme, was
Yeah.
particularly memorable. In fact, I thought it was a little cheesy. which is a shame because I love both of those guys. But they've got this like weird reggae-ish thing going.
Yeah, and there was no clear melodic line. It was more like a boom,
Boom,
ba,
boom,
ba,
ba,
boom.
No,
Yeah,
there was. It was like,
Wow, you all remembered it, I guess.
no, the refrain is like a constant like, Ujaba O.
Yeah, exactly.
Ujaba O. Which to me sounds like...
Do that again,
it
just a
sounds-
little closer to the mic.
Ujaba O.
Okay.
And then like there's a croaky voice that goes like whoa, Ojaba O.
You know it pretty well, I
So
think.
I guess
You've
it
seen
was
this a couple
pretty
of times.
memorable.
Here's the thing.
Or are we just
that
really
sounds
big
like,
Star Wars nerds?
Like I can imagine Akshay Kumar in dreads in the 90s dancing to that.
Or Sunil Shetty,
Or Sunil
in a
Shetty.
shirt that has soda written on it.
Or like, a Jackie Shroff movie where they're outlaws and they're all in the jungle
Yeah.
and they decide to have a campfire while they've, along with their
Correct.
kidnappies and like on
Tell
Ojaba O.
Tell me
starts
Hi
behind it.
Hoku Hai could not have been a Cantinas.
Yeah.
Anyway, but,
but
so-
that was a cool nerdy collaboration.
Yes, I
that
agree.
and the way that the comedians Ben Schwartz and Bill Hader were brought in to do the voice of
Yes,
BB-8.
BB-8,
I also thought
yes.
that was very cool.
So how did they do that, by the way?
So apparently, what they wanted was more of the tonality of it.
Yeah, you can
so they
hear
had,
the voice. In it.
Yeah, they
So
had
this is
both
not
of
like
them.
Ben Burt making the sounds.
No.
This was voiced like a
This
person.
So they
BB-8
had
has
both-
lines.
yes.
He
Yeah.
has dialogue.
He has. It's written in the script, right? Because
Right.
I've
No.
seen
So
that.
when you hear him conversing with somebody.
Yeah, those
like
are actual
No, yeah,
lines,
but I mean, you can hear the melody and the inflection in his voice. Like, for instance, when he's on the Falcon with Finn and Rey before Han steps on.
Yeah, yeah.
When she's like fixing the Falcon, he's like, "Pass me the thing, Ren." She's like, "Oh, what? This, that, droid? Tell her I'm from the Resistance. Tell her where the base is." And you can hear him going like, "What? Really? What? You? Me? Me?" But obviously with a higher inflection.
Nice.
So it's actually them. It's Ben Schwartz and Bill Hader saying, "Really? What? No, I can't. Really? Okay, I guess I will."
That's
I don't
cool,
know.
man.
So
I like that they do things even though they know. I mean, their voice is never going to make it to the film, but it's like a cool way of approaching.
I
it.
Oh,
really-
they
so
didn't.
I-
So they went in and did the lines not knowing. And essentially, their voices were replaced with the same inflection using technology later.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you
And
just use it as
so
a reference point
They
to then
weren't
make your
needed
pitch
for the
bending.
second film.
They won't
They
need
weren't
it.
needed.
No, they didn't do anything.
Oh, right. Wow.
Oh, because as a reference. Oh, I see. They
was
just
a
needed the
reference, yeah.
character's voice
That's
too.
very
Oh,
interesting.
that's cool.
Because so what when I saw Seven, I was not skeptical, but I was very curious, I guess, to see how they would handle the new R2, which is what he is. And I thought it was a brilliant move to do that, because the thing about R2 was that he doesn't have the human voice
Yeah.
that BB-8 has. You can't tell his emotions.
his is
the
Ben
only
Burt.
the only
Yeah.
emotion you can get is either normalcy, which is whatever he beep boop beep, or when he's like freaking out and shrieking and his and like his head is spinning like 360 degrees, right?
Yeah.
And so like for BB-8, it was a really good move to do that.
It
because
separates him, yeah, I
it
think
totally
it-
separates him. It makes him his own thing, and then like he literally is a puppy. He's a dog, because like you can guess what a puppy is feeling based
Yeah.
on the puppy's inflection.
Yeah.
Same thing with
But
this. But
R2 's
R2
like
you
this
can't.
bro.
So R2 just won the day because at the time in 77, 78, he was like a novelty.
Dude, Ben
Like,
Burt
you don't
won
get that every
a
day.
special achievement Oscar that year when Star Wars came out. Like they would just give him they were just like, "This is amazing.
Done.
Take Oscar
Take it.
and go."
Good. Congratulations.
Amazing. So cool. So that's another one.
Yeah.
Jishnu, you said you had a nerdy collaboration that you wanted
The
to talk
Ninja
about.
Turtles like pizza. Pizza companies
Oh, yeah?
like the Ninja Turtles.
Of course, yes.
It's
So
true.
Yes,
through-
my brother only started eating pizza after the Ninja Turtles.
As did I. I thought pizza was super cool because of the Ninja Turtles.
Yes.
And then you see an actual pizza and you're like, this doesn't look like that pizza.
Oh man.
So
Yeah.
throughout
The
the
pizza is a
history
lie.
of the Turtles,
yeah.
there have been a number of different iterations of corporate
Pizza-
branding.
corporate,
branding.
yeah.
So in like the 1990s movie, you had Domino's.
Correct.
Like
Oh,
blatant,
Domino's,
like,
yeah?
like straight up
Oh wow.
Raph and Leo in the sewer opening
I
up
mean, of course.
a Domino's pizza box.
It's the perfect
right?
opportunity.
Then on
Yes.
top of that, this is great. I had no idea about this. They had a nationwide live show where they had people dressed up as the Turtles playing in what is essentially like a hair metal band.
What?
Yeah.
What?
They made over
They don't
2
have
million.
hair though.
All right, I'm just going to give you a quick blurb from this article. Over 2 million cassette tapes of the show's soundtrack was sold that year with the purchase of a personal pan pizza at Pizza Hut. So if you buy a pan pizza from
Right.
Pizza Hut,
You get?
you get a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cassette tape.
That's cool. What were the songs?
That is
on
kinda
it?
cool.
Just hair metal
It was-
songs.
Yeah, it was called Coming Out of Their Shells. Here's the
That's
ad.
excellent.
Here's the ad. For a very limited time, get the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles debut audio cassette with 10 original tunes, official concert tour guide, and full color autographed
That's
poster.
awesome.
Oh,
$3.99
shit,
with any
I
pizza
would-
purchase.
I would
a
love that.
$12.99 retail value. So
Wow.
That's a deal.
That's a real deal.
I've
guess
always
it's like
had an issue with that though. You can't say something is so and so retail value when clearly you're not selling it.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't
It's
buy that
worth
anywhere
this much,
else.
but we'll sell it
Yeah,
to you
that's
for
bullshit.
the cost price. But this is I guess this falls also under like perfect product placement. Like
It's
know,
product placement.
it's not product
You know what a
placement.
collab is with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Vanilla Ice in the movie.
Correct.
Go Ninja, go Ninja, go.
Go Ninja. Yeah, exactly.
Is he in the movie or was that just a music
course.
video?
Yeah. He's in it.
He's in
Where?
the-
Remind
the-
me.
in
I know the
movie-
song. I know the song, but yeah, where?
So basically, the music video.
What was the character arc?
He
He
doesn't
does-
have a
he's just
character
cameo.
arc. He's just
He's like
performing.
Method Man
and
in
the
Luke
turtles
Cage.
see him and they're like, go Ninja, go.
Oh, so they were just
He doesn't
they
have
were
a
just walking
part.
They were just walking down the street and they saw the guy like, hey, bust a
No,
jam.
it's in like
And
some
he
sort
went-
of club situation, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly.
So were they there like promoting their own tour and they were like, hey, do you want to open for me?
They're trying to keep it low profile, and Vanilla Ice, like
Yeah.
a dick, is like, hey, you guys, the turtle-looking guys.
But yeah, this is a perfect collab. Unlike the last one which I saw, which I was quite not enthused by, which was We Are Turkish Airlines.
We Are Globally Yours.
which was in
BVS.
Batman vs Superman.
Right.
And she
Remember they played that
basically
shit
she
in the
basically boards
screening?
the plane.
Oh my god.
And then she gets off the plane.
Yeah.
And but the ads for it were pretty cool because they did a Turkish Airlines
They talked
ad
about how
where
they-
you could fly
to
from
Gotham.
your city to Gotham or to
Right,
Metropolis,
right,
and they did like it was cool.
It was a cool idea.
It was cool except for the fact that they played the ad for Turkish Airlines in the
That's
intermission
India,
of
that's India,
VVS.
bro.
Yes.
That's
Which was
India.
just
which is
the worst.
weird. And
Okay.
also the fact that however cool the ad concept was, he
Yeah.
still had to end it with that Turkish Airlines jingle.
Dude, you know Turkish Airlines actually did a worldwide call out for a new jingle. Please, they were like, it was like, please help us change our theme song. Okay, but on the note of intermissions, let's take one ourselves and we'll be back and talk about more collaborations. So you know that thing that people say about Mother's Day? Every day should be Mother's Day. Well, personally, I think that every day should be Star Wars Day. Unfortunately though, it isn't. But on May the 4th this year, Geek Fruit will be celebrating it with all you nerds out there. Come join us at Geek Fruit Cantina at the Habitat in Car, Bombay, where we'll be making a night out of everything Star Wars, including a screening of the prequel Strike Back, a live edition of our world-famous podcast, don't quote me on that, and joining our crew will be a bunch of special guests you know probably from the Instagram and the YouTube thing. Merchandise, trivia, prizes, and everything else rebel scum like you could ask for. It's the Geek Fruit Cantina at the Habitat. May the 4th be with you. Alright, we're back. We're talking about unlikely collaborations in the nerd universe. I have one which is as weird as it gets.
Tell us.
Okay? So, do you know Korg, the music company?
Correct.
The instruments company. So,
Yes.
so Korg has been, the creator of many of pianos, different instruments. A big part of their catalog is the synthesizers, of which now we own some. But the cool thing is that they, in 1981, released a synthesizer which was called mono/poly, which you could create a synthesis of like tones and stuff using a monophonic thing, which means one note at a time, and poly, which is like many
Multiple
notes at a
notes,
time. Yeah.
yes.
And that was the first time I think somebody did it in such a scale, and so it was called the Korg mono/poly.
Yeah.
And now for their release for the Monopoly, which is the version of the synthesizer on iPad or
Like
a Mac
an app?
Yeah.
Right.
So they collaborated with Monopoly.
Because it's called
Because it's called Monopoly,
Poly.
and it says special collaboration, and basically what it does is like they've collaborated with them to make a skin for the synthesizer so that it looks exactly like a Monopoly board. And this is the most bizarre thing you'll see. I'm showing it to you guys.
That
But you
is
please
kind
check it
of
out.
cool.
It's really cool. So
It
if you-
basically looks like a
it's
Monopoly board
It's a Monopoly
/
board,
card.
and all the knobs that you would need to change, like the controls basically for the synthesizer, are all tokens.
All and
Yeah,
friggin-
no, they're all tokens. Like
Oh,
the tokens that
nice.
use, like the
Like
shoe,
the
the
hat and
card,
the
the
shoe.
hat,
What is the
thimble.
thimble? I love the thimble.
The thimble is just like it's the master volume.
Wow,
yeah,
that's great.
Of
it's
course
like
it
a bunch
is.
of stuff, and it looks really cool. And they just, I don't know, it serves literally no purpose.
Yeah, it's so
except for
weird,
the
but
fact
also
that it's
kind
just
of fun.
cool. And yeah, man, and they just did this, and I was just like, how bizarre. But like, they just took an opportunity and just did it. And I
I
think
suppose
that's,
so, yeah.
I love that kind of stuff. It's pretty weird.
It's nice when companies, because obviously there's like all kinds of bureaucracy and red tape and hoops to jump through.
Exactly.
But basically some guy at Korg went like, wait, our name looks like monopoly, and then you have an entire product based on it. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, I know, and they have nothing to do with each other. Like one's literally a property trading card game, and the other one is like a hardcore synthesizer. Yeah, and they just decided to do it anyway. And I think I appreciate.
That's
that.
nice. That's
like that.
That's a very unlikely nerdy collaboration.
It is very unlikely and nerdy.
Highly
You're right.
unlikely.
Yes, you're right. All right, so moving on. What do you guys have next?
We're going on to a pet subject of ours, which is Hue 2.
Oh, yes.
And their collaboration with Julie Taymor and the
Glenn
universe
Bojo.
of... Yes. And a dude called Spider-Man.
Correct, yes.
For the Broadway musical, the disastrous Broadway musical,
Yes.
Spider-Man...
What year was this? I forget.
This is about
4 years ago?
No, more than that.
More than that?
Yeah.
More than.
I remember it was like maybe 2010, 2011.
Something
Maybe
like
that's...
that.
No way.
This was
Yeah,
after
it was
Across the
ages.
Universe. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Julie Taymor
Yeah.
had just made
Across the Universe was 07.
which was the Beatles
So this
movie
would have been
musical.
like 9 or 10. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So she was fresh off that. She was
Yeah.
really hot in terms of like, like she was just creating stuff. It was amazing. She'd won all the Tonys for The Lion King on Broadway. So this was man.
She's a legend, and she knows how to handle like big productions.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Lion
And they
King.
brought her in, and there was basically Glenn Bojo wrote this book saying Song of Spider-Man, what really happened within, Turn Off the Dark, the musical. And he basically, it was like this kind of tell-all that he felt like he really needed to write. And in that, he spoke about how Julie Taymor is a crazy woman. And
sure
she's
she is,
like,
yeah.
nuts.
Everyone said that.
She has to be. She has to be to come up with those
Exactly. She's a
ideas.
genius, right? I mean, I don't know if it's excusable, but I guess you need to be like really elevated in that sense, to kind of be able to do something like this. And it was such an ambitious project. It was basically taking Spider-Man, something that has been loved for decades, and turning it into a musical against critical kind of people not thinking it's a good idea, basically.
Yeah, I mean,
And-
it's even on paper, from the concept level, it's a super weird idea.
Dude, I love it though. I thought it was a smash.
But
Like-
it's an odd idea for sure, correct?
Oh yeah, it's weird because
You two, the rock band, Julie Taymor, the Broadway legend at this point, like both on hot streaks, both decide to come together
Exactly.
to make a musical about Spider-Man.
But it seems
and
like a
about him
no-brainer.
turning off the dark at that.
Yeah, how did you find the switch for that? I don't know. But I will say this, right? So it was my dream to go watch this because it fused everything great. It was like great rock and roll
So many
music.
great things.
Spider-Man, Julie Taymor, amazing. Broadway, so good. I even found a really good Peter Parker and this guy called Reeve Carney.
Yeah.
I thought he was great. He was basically young Bono.
Pretty
okay.
much.
I mean, he sounded a lot like him.
Yeah.
And so I really felt that, this was going to be a really good
It
idea.
had a lot of potential.
And
It just
the
and
scale
it
of it.
failed for the weirdest reasons, right? It like if
well,
you see no
one person died.
Yes.
3 people were grievously injured because of, like, he was talking about this one thing. Like, one guy took, like, maybe seconds to kind of find his flashlight to be able to, and because of that, he couldn't attach one safety harness, just one.
Yeah.
And because of that, somebody went crashing into the ground, and one of the Spidey guys fractured his skull, things like that. So it was so disastrous.
It was a disaster, but it was a disaster in the staging of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
music is good.
The music, everything was
and
good.
I've never really heard
I mean, I
any
read the
like
script, though. It was okay.
I haven't, but
Yeah.
whatever I've heard people say about it,
Yeah.
nobody's ever trashed it completely. Like, well, some things are weird,
And
but
it
it's
was
not a-
Evan Rachel Wood as Mary Jane, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
yeah,
I remember
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Anyway.
it was in the original run. I mean, they had to. I guess they stopped at the previews and then they just had. And I think they took
No,
it
they
now
continued
to.
for a while,
Yeah.
and they
After
kept
the- yeah.
trying to get it afloat. I mean, they went on after the first guy died. They went on through a bunch of injuries,
Yeah.
and they were plagued by injuries right from the start, like
Yeah.
right from the preview showings and stuff. They powered through until at some point they were just like, we can't do this anymore."
Yeah.
Which
They
is
just
such a
lost so
strange
much
thing
money, yeah.
for like some of the greatest creative minds on Broadway and in music in general to come
Yeah.
together and try and pull something off, and it fails because of staging, which should be
Yeah.
like that should be like step
But
one.
I think
See,
it was
that-
just too.
that
They
was,
should have
that's
had
what
that
I-
on lock
that's
from
what
the
that's
start.
all that I was worried about. Was
Yeah.
just the staging of it, because like, yes, it's weird to have you two, well, actually specifically Bono on the Edge,
Yeah.
just scoring something. Sure, like they've done it before. They're used to scoring.
They did Batman,
random
yeah, right.
random.
They
things.
did Mission Impossible.
They
did
did
Mission
Gangs of New
Impossible,
York.
yeah,
they've
they
done,
did-
they've
yeah.
done this before. It's like, that's fine. Ask musicians to set music to a story. Fine, that's not the hardest thing. But yeah, the weird part, the hard part was always going to be the staging of it, because like it's something that Julie Taymor's dabbled in with Lion King. And I don't know if you guys have seen the Broadway version of it.
Oh, it's
So
my
I saw
dream.
it, and like I love Lion King. It's my like very close second favorite Disney
Yeah.
movie, right? And I know that
What's number
movie
one?
inside
Little
out.
Mermaid, of course.
Do,
Come on.
do you know me at all?
Jesus.
So
I didn't know this.
it was really good because Lion King is great music and it's a really great story, and it was really cool to see how they execute. Things like a stampede and whatnot. They use like shadow play and puppets and whatnot. And it's really cool. The wardrobe is amazing. But what the Broadway musical lacks from the movie is the fluidity of motion. The fact that the movie takes place in an African savanna in the middle of nowhere and like wide expanse. Like when Simba's alone in the desert before Timon and Pumbaa find him, he's in the middle of nowhere. Right. There's nothingness. But you're on a Broadway stage. You can't show nothingness.
You can't show the
when
scale.
Mufasa's about to die. There's literally hundreds of
Spoilers, guys.
wildebeests or whatever they are, and you can't really do that without some random disbelief that you have to have in there, right?
No, 100%.
And so when you have Spider-Man, where his whole MO is swinging around, it's not gonna happen. And so
there's this great video called Spider-Man in the Country, which basically starts with him like running off a barn and like shooting a web and then realizing, whoops.
I like that they touched upon that in Homecoming. They did that. Like when he lives in the suburbs, right? He lives in Queens and he can't find a thing to kind of latch onto. But yeah, you know what? They showed some preview videos and clips and stuff, it was like these guys, basically, they use a spider cam technology from, like stadiums and stuff, which is like a XYZ axis kind of truss rod thing. So
you have basically it's 3 cables that give you free movement.
Exactly, it's like height, depth, length, whatever it is. But and whenever I used to see that, and they use it really well for, the Green Goblin and things like that, and you could see them fighting mid-air. It's like very few clips finally made it up online. I'm sure there's a bootleg I'm sure that we could find.
There must be,
man,
possibly on Pornhub.com.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, the greatest... They have everything.
They have the...
But and
they have Hamilton.
They have Hamilton. Yeah,
gotta get a premium account.
Yeah. So it's bizarre how that ambition which was there, they couldn't pull it off, man.
So it's obviously ridiculously ambitious and hard to do, right? What surprises me is it's not impossible to do. We live in like the world of like Cursed Child and Cirque du Soleil and stuff.
Exactly.
It's
and
not,
they had to get in a Cirque du Soleil.
What is so hard when you can nab a Bono and an Edge, when you can nab a Julie Taymor? Why can't you get like the coolest staging guys?
They did get the coolest
That's the thing,
guys.
exactly.
And they messed up.
Yeah, because the thing is, there's a big difference between like what Cursed Child is doing and what Cirque du Soleil is doing. Because what Cirque du Soleil is doing is literally the like Olympian level athletic champions of the world.
Yes.
Doing something where it's set to music, but the story is not as pivotal that needs, a proper narrative with dialogue and whatnot.
Exactly.
And the thing is, Cirque du Soleil is a spectacle. So like the audience go in knowing that your neck might hurt because you're going to be craning your neck up looking at these amazing things, but it's going to be worth it.
Right.
But with Spider-Man, you're addressing a wide range of audiences. You're addressing people that have never been to Broadway. You're addressing U2 fans. You're addressing Spider-Man comic book geeks that don't give a damn about Broadway, but they're watching it because it's Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have
Honestly, there's a bigger intersection there.
I mean, but the thing is, like, it's a wide range of things, right? And so you need to address the character movement, the character arc, the story, the music, how the music incorporates, and then the fact that the guy has to fly around. So now the closest thing I've seen to that was actually the first Broadway show I ever saw, which was Starlight Express, which is about bunch of dudes who are living trains
on roller skates.
So that's the thing. So they're on roller skates. Now roller skates are a lot easier now. Even when I was like 6 years old and I saw that thing, after a point I got a little tired of it. I was like, cool spectacle, but it is a bunch of dudes on roller skates going around the theater for like 2 hours. After a while, it gets old. And so when it's Spider-Man, he's going to do nothing but swing around, right? And so that swinging around better be obviously safe, which it wasn't. B, it better look cool, which we don't know how that went.
I'm sure,
but
dude, whatever, it looks awesome.
Fine.
It's expensive.
Also, it's expensive. I didn't think it was
still the most expensive Broadway musical ever.
Yeah, it was not feasible. I think that was the main problem. They
were at a point where it had to run for a couple of decades to get all the money back, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the music was
dope. And here, boy Lynn is like, I wrote some raps about Hamilton. Chalo.
Boom.
Most successful one ever.
Of all time, yeah.
Julie Taymor's pulling her hair out like, why?
I took Spider-Man, U2, everything good about Broadway.
Dear God, please turn off the dark in my life.
But yeah, I mean, what seemed to have been, I guess that's like the biggest lesson everybody uses now, saying, well, it could be Spider-Man.
Did that movie come out, did the Broadway musical come out after Spidey 3?
Yeah, of course.
So was he referring to emo Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Oh, I
was want to know what the dark meant.
No, turn off the dark.
He's saying turn off the light in a poetic turn of phrase.
Yeah. Yes.
Turn on the light, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
In a turn of phrase.
In a turn of a
in
phrase.
a turn of phrase.
Literally in a turn of phrase.
It's like when you walk into a room and you go like, hey
Alexa,
man, turn off the dark.
dark.
Turning off dark.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So, do you guys have any last few things?
I had like an entire chain of things. So, this leads me into a man called Scott Aukerman, who is a comedian who is the host of a podcast about U2 with the actor Adam Scott, who was on Parks and Rec.
Correct.
But anyway, Scott Aukerman, great comedian. He also hosts a great show called Comedy Bang Bang, which is like a TV show and a podcast and stuff. And he also wrote an issue of Spider-Man /
sweet.
Deadpool for Marvel.
Nice.
Which Marvel does this occasionally, where they reach out to like cool people, like writers, comedians, like
Gerard
Patton
Way from
Gerard Way
My Chemical
from-
Romance.
yeah. Like Patton Oswalt, like a bunch of
Oswalt,
cool
yeah.
people. So yeah, Scott Aukerman's one is particularly great because he's a legit nerd, right? As is
And his
Patton
name is
Oswalt's.
Aukerman. And he
Aukerman.
wrote for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Just putting it out there.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So Spider-Man Deadpool is a series from maybe last or like 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
But basically it's a sort of non-canon fun
Yeah.
riff. It's basically a Deadpool comic with Spider-Man in there, where Deadpool's the biggest Spider-Man fan, so they're trying to be friends and whatnot. So Scott Aukerman does like a random riff on it. It's like a one-off that was filler, essentially, in a break between two
arcs, yeah.
two arcs, yes.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah, great episode. Among things he references are things like Hamilton, Comedy Bang Bang.
Nice.
Weird Al is in there, so it's great. And the entire thing is a riff on Amazing Spider-Man number 14 from like way back in the day, which was the first time the Green Goblin was introduced.
Oh, right.
Because basically the plot of that one is that Green Goblin convinces Spider-Man to go to Hollywood to act in a movie.
Yeah. They riffed on it in Ultimates also. Yeah, they
Correct,
did that. Yeah,
yes.
the same thing. And he doesn't get paid for it because
Yeah.
they can't buy the
They
rights
can't
from
buy the
Spider-Man
rights.
for his own likeness. So
Spider-Man has so much to do with Hollywood.
Yeah.
His wife was an actor.
model and actress.
model.
Yes, yeah.
There's also, by the way, a great podcast that I recommend checking out called Screw It, We're Just Gonna Talk About Spider-Man.
Oh, nice.
which I heard because Scott Aukerman has been on it. But it's great. It's basically they go through Amazing Spider-Man starting from issue 1.
And
geez.
killer.
Episode
That's
by
so
episode,
good.
pretty
I'm
much
definitely
panel by
listening.
panel.
What
They
is
go
it
like,
called?
Screw It, we're just going to talk about Spider-Man.
Awesome. I love it.
Again by two comedians called Will and Kevin Hines.
Nice.
Who also, before this, had a podcast called Screw It, we're just going to talk about the Beatles.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Which is
And
them discussing
what is that?
Beatles stuff.
Every song-
Album by album or song by
They
song?
went
Song by song, I
So
think.
they started out going album by album, then they started delving into
They
like
ran out of
weirder stuff.
albums,
They ran out of
No,
albums.
they realized that you get into so much detail that
Yeah.
you just have to like discuss more niche stuff. So they would discuss Beatles guitar parts.
Oh, gosh,
where they'd have
wow.
like a bunch of people
It's
sitting
the
around
most
with
like esoteric
Jesus
thing.
Christ.
It is the
ever.
weirdest thing.
How
but
long?
also it's
How
very
long
fun.
is each episode?
They range from 1.5 to 3 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's intense.
They're definitely smoking drugs.
All right, cool. So I'm going to end with one last thing, which I've been listening to of late, which I hope we can do an episode on, which is the Stitcher and Marvel podcast series called Wolverine: The Long Night, which I thought was
It really should have been called Wolverine Turn on the Duck.
okay, good one.
Yes.
I'll give you that. But yeah, it's a podcast drama, which is amazing. Like I'm really,
It's
really,
really,
into
really
it.
well done.
It's
I thought you said it had like a slow start.
but that's the entire series. It's like a
not slow in a negative sense, slow
Yeah.
in a cool like
It's
wow,
like-
this is building really
like
nicely
true crime.
sense.
It's
Sure.
almost like true crime because so Richard Armitage plays Wolverine in this, who's amazing because like his voice just cuts through every other thing that you're listening to on that show, and it's really well plotted out. It's like it's basically set in Burns, Alaska. It's a really small town which just has a lot of blue collar kind of jobs and stuff, especially fishing. And it starts with the murder of somebody on this boat.
It starts with it starts with a ship on which everyone's been murdered.
Yeah.
And it's a ghost ship floating around.
Yeah. And basically the whole, every episode follows these two detectives, these two FBI agents who have come all the way to Burns to investigate these deaths. And Wolverine keeps kind of coming up in conversation, like Logan keeps coming up because he used to live in this town. He's somewhere here, but we don't know. There's also a cult in this town, which is called the Aurora cult, which just broadcasts on the radio saying like, good night, everyone. Good night, the Aurora. It's just like
Which
weird.
reminded
Very
me
sweet.
of
It's awesome. It's
Which
very
reminded me
sweet. I
so
would
much
wish
of
somebody did that.
Welcome to Night Vale, which
exactly
is basically
remind me
the same thing.
so much
Yeah.
of Welcome to Night Vale. And
I started Welcome to Night Vale. I couldn't finish
it's
it.
so you can't finish it. It's impossible.
Yeah.
It's like 200, 300 episodes.
Oh
of
no,
just
not even
broadcast-
that. I mean, I got like 4 episodes and I was like, eh.
You can't. So the
No,
thing is
I
that you
enjoyed
can,
it,
you
but
can
it
jump in
wasn't.
anywhere.
I realized after maybe like 10 or 12 that it wasn't like a definite arc. It's a
just
running
not-
thing.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
it's like
cool.
Twilight Zone-ish kind of
Yeah.
stuff. You just listen to it. It's weird. It's cool.
Yeah.
You can jump in pretty much anytime.
Like,
Exactly.
I was listening to like in the middle of every episode. I went, nah.
Yeah.
I was making this noise and like somebody was like, "Stop making this." I was like, "Okay, I should stop listening to the podcast."
Yeah, but yeah, you guys should definitely check it out. It's on Stitcher Premium right now. It might take a while before it comes out on their free kind of thing.
What you should do is wait another couple of weeks for the entire run to finish and then sign
just
up for a free month.
Just one free month, and you can do all 10 episodes. Every episode is about half an hour.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not that long.
It's like one plain red.
Yeah. No.
What?
It's
3 hours,
10
no?
episodes.
10 episodes of 300
That's
minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
66 hours.
Yeah,
6 hours.
So
It's a
one,
long plane
one
ride.
leg, one from Dubai, London.
Huh.
Boom, done. So
Or like go to Delhi, come back.
yeah, exactly. You'll be done.
Yeah.
And you'll have a great experience. It's awesome. It's so well recorded, and so I mean, yeah, it's amazing. And Richard Armitage actually is a really good choice for Wolverine.
Yeah,
actually,
this is a good call.
Like as in like in life also, like in live action.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would be great. Thorin Oakenshield from The Hobbit.
Yeah.
Right.
Let us talk about this in detail once pretty much the entire series is done as well.
Yeah, and then we'll do like just podcast series and
Because there are some cool ones.
There's some really good ones.
All right.
Cool. So that's our episode. Let us know if you have any nerdy collaborations that you have come across, and you can let us know about. Contact geekfruit@gmail.com, or you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at geekfruithq. Thanks, Jishnu and Dinkar, for joining us today, I guess.
You're
and stuff.
welcome, I suppose.
This was a great
and
nerdy
whatnot.
collaboration.
I felt like you started thanking us with enthusiasm and then you kind of trailed off like,
Yeah.
I don't care about
It was
these
a little
guys.
suspect.
Hurtful.
It was
I don't know
just,
what your
it was
intentions are.
pure obligation. Jesus.
All
Okay,
right.
cool.
Thanks,
All right.
Tejas, for inviting us or whatever, I guess.
Your
something.
return gift is in the mail.
Yeah.
Just please revert back ASAP.
At
Thank
the
you very
earliest.
much. All right.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Regards.
As you can see, we have a podcast listener in his natural habitat. Billions of years of evolution have led him to this point. He's on his way to work, and listening to podcasts makes his miserable day better. He will now head to work and use all his knowledge to communicate with other colleagues and possibly future mates. You can find more of his species on ivmpodcasts.com, your one-stop destination where you can check out all the coolest Indian podcasts. Happy listening.